And welcome to the latest edition of the 941 Sports Zone. I'm Spitz. He's John Links Golf Rules Masoni. Lots of golf rules to talk about. Talk about the World Cup. Talk about the Rays. What in the heck's going on in Michigan? SEC Media Days, which are actually in the 813 up in Tampa. And the first full training camps open this week as the participants in the Hall of Fame game are able to go in and have the full squad show up on Wednesday. The 941 Sports Zone brought to you, as always, by the good folks at Mighty Dog Roofing. 941-251-4257 is the number. They bring you excellent service and up and down the Gulf Coast, homes and businesses included. 941-251-4257. I know we're going to get to the World Cup to start, but a quick overview of the Open Championship. And Ryan Fox wins the major, and he does it in a way that is obviously not what golf is like today. Right, John?
No. The guy is every man golfer who goes out and plays on Saturday, Sunday, or both days. Loves to get their round in under 4 hours. That's usually that's if you can do that, especially the time of the year. But in Florida, you can get to some pretty jammed up golf courses. But 4 hours, 15 minutes, and he's a guy that after my own heart. If he played the round of golf the way he wanted to play, he'd be done in 3 hours and 25 minutes, because he's over there. He said they asked him a question as to why he plays so fast, and he said he realized it was better for him because he got too much into his head, too much trying to figure out stuff that he didn't need to worry. He said he sees the shot and he hits the shot. Now, does he figure the numbers out? Sure, but you don't need to spend 10 minutes before every shot trying to figure out if it's 179 or 178. And I know there's a lot of precision to what the PGA golfers or the top-notch golfers in the world they can hit shots to. And sometimes it does require some more time. We've all been down that road. But overall, I mean, you watched him play the last 3 holes on a very tough golf course, 18 being the hardest finishing hole. And I can't remember how many years they said on the Rota for I don't know how long. It was impossible to get birdies. And the guy that only gets a birdie on 18 to win it, he does it on the last day when it's even the hardest day to do it. So kudos to him. We'll go a little more deep dive into his route to a championship and to the PGA Tour. I guess as we get going into golf a little later.
All right, but we're going to begin with the World Cup. It's over. Some people say finally. I know avid listener of ours, Robert Ellingson, is like, let's talk about real sports. But it was definitely welcome. Gave us 5 weeks of content. The 2 semifinal matches were tremendous, depending on which side you were rooting for. In England, they want to take their coach and throw him right off the bridge. They don't even want him to come back.
Rightfully so.
Especially after the performance they put on in the 3rd place game against France. And of course, France couldn't do anything against Spain. And they scored 4 goals in the second half alone against England. But let's get to the championship game. Spain was clearly the best team. I don't think there's any question, John. You give up 1 goal in.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, you give up 1 goal in 8 matches. I would say that you're doing well. And Argentina, one of the most high-powered countries in the world, went 110 plus minutes. John, without a shot on goal. No shots. Period.
None. 0 shots off at all. Spain. In a lot of these contests where there's this type of world stage, you rarely see a team as dominant as Spain was. Now, the thing is this, you don't get the score being 10-0. Okay. That's what we're used to seeing. Boy, when you dominate, you don't win by 1, you win by 100, or you win by 50, or you win by whatever it may be. That's a dominant performance. But in soccer, learned a little bit of stuff. I really, again, just offshoot, really great production on this. I think Fox did a fantastic job, better than anything they've ever done, in my opinion. They
Hmm.
tried golf, that was atrocious.
Yeah.
A lot of times when they first started with sports, it was more like a cartoony kind of setup. I didn't really like it too much, but this was, I mean, world class. If you want to, steal a word from the event itself, but it was world class. I liked the stat they gave everybody. It said how many passes were completed.
Hmm.
So you're thinking to yourself, well, the layperson watching it, and I'm one of them, saying, all right, back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. But it's a control of the game. It's moving pieces around to get space available. It's all that kind of stuff. And they had, that consistently 700-800 passes a game that were completed. And not a pass that was like had to run it down and chase it. I mean, like on someone's foot to on someone's foot, and
Right.
that kind of a thing. So I think there's a little bit more to be looked at from that perspective as far as their dominance was concerned. Goal, he didn't have to do much, but when he did, he was there to answer the call.
Yep.
Two very young superstars on their team. They're 19-year-olds, a fullback and like I'm not good at the last name.
Lamal.
Lamal.
Lamal. Lamal.
So, another guy that that was injured the entirety of the tournament, and really we didn't really get to see his abilities or his what he was capable of. So, Spain was the best. I don't know if Argentina was their best foe, because I think Argentina could have lost in any round they played in. They really played by the skin of their teeth. And I think that they got further than maybe they should have. I think that England was the better team. You got me on the lock of the week last week, picking Argentina over England, but it was, looking at it now, it looks like that maybe that might have been a coach issue more than anything else.
Might.
Well, again, and you think that having two guys up front like Bellingham and Harry Kane, I thought they had the advantage up front, and they just didn't take advantage of it at all. And when the one goal that they did get, then they go on into what we know very well as sports fans, especially football fans, the prevent defense, and all it ever does is prevent you from winning. And that's exactly what happened to the England squad.
And they call it parking the bus in soccer, but what in the world are you parking the bus or the plane? My son is actually so they parked the plane. But what are you doing with over 40 minutes left in the match against a team as skilled as Argentina? You really think you're just going to put 8 guys in the box and they're not going to be able to? And if you think about it, John, they scored twice and they hit 2 posts, including right before the game winner. I mean, square on the post. England got the lead, and I thought it was just a serious tactical error. You mentioned Harry Kane and Bellingham. You mentioned them, but they're not defensemen, and they were playing defense the final 30, 40 minutes of the game, and they were exhausted when it was done.
So the only comparison I could come to that you can say what it was like rope-a-dope.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You roped an idiot. They scored a goal. They sent everybody back. There was a point, I want to say, that you mentioned that the 2 posts, Pickford, the goalie, made 6 or 7 really good saves. I mean,
right.
Just point blank, and he was getting to everything, and you just knew that the haymaker was going to land at one point in time, and give credit to them for holding off like they did, because it was shot after shot after shot after shot, corner kick. I thought if you didn't know how good Lionel Messi was, and going into this, those 15 minutes or so, whatever it was, showed you how great of a soccer player he was. They mentioned a lot about him being he walks around a lot, and he was quoted, "Look, why do we got to run around? Save that for when you need it." They said he walks 80% of the time when he's on the pitch. He only runs a little bit. He doesn't need to.
Right.
And the first goal by Argentina, he sets it up, bring two guys come out after him. He sets it up, he did right point. Well, I shouldn't point blank, but just outside
26 yards.
Yeah.
26 yards was the shot.
But
it was as good as it could get. I mean,
Right.
Bickford had no shot, zero.
Then the game-winning goal, which took a little longer than he knew was coming, but Messi does the same thing. He goes to his left, and two guys follow him, and he goes back to his right. Nobody thought he was going to go to his right because I don't think he does very often because he's left-footed.
Right.
He goes back to his right, and it would be like having somebody wide open that they missed the coverage. Everybody went with him to the left. He goes back to the right and puts a cross right on the head of his teammate, and it's the easiest goal you ever saw. But it was the brilliance of the fact that he could put that ball on that guy's head with his right foot. And everybody's like, well, he should. He's a soccer player. No, watch some of the setups, watch the World Cup, and watch some of the balls when they're passing in. It's just whoever gets it kind of thing. And they're putting it into a mosh of people. He put that on his head with his.
He couldn't have placed it better, John. He couldn't have placed it better.
And to see, and again, he didn't score, but he didn't need to score. Those goals were his goals, and they all knew it. They all knew it.
Yeah.
And so if you want to see why he's considered the best player in the world, hands down, no matter how many goals he scores or not, those two particular plays were a highlight reel for him.
And then that even highlights more the job that Spain did. The fact that they couldn't get a shot off for, into the second half of the extra time, 110 minutes. I think they only ended up with 3 shots, 2 on goal. And I mean, they did have one golden opportunity. The player in the box tried to roof it, and he went over the top. But when you have to be that precise, and the way Spain was just suffocating Argentina was just tremendous. And Spain, listen, they were, I believe, the Euro champs. So they, I guess, if you want to call it, defended that title. And by the way, the World Cup in 4 years, Spain's one of the host countries.
Yeah, Spain, Portugal, and Morocco.
Yeah,
interesting to see how it's going to work out. Because I don't think you can find a better venue than in North America. What they did for this,
right.
I mean, spread out across the country. I mean, fantastic stadiums to play in. It would be hard pressed to be able to repeat what they did. Very, very hard pressed.
And then I was at a party yesterday. I had a party for my wife's 55th birthday, and I had several people come up and say, if soccer was always like that, we'd watch because it was really exciting. It was 6-4. It was 4-0 at half. France, before the water break, makes it 4-3, and Mbappe scores twice to make it close, and then England has to hang on. They get a penalty, and then after France scores again to make it 5-4, they put it away. I'll tell you what, it was an exciting game to watch, but there was no defense, was completely optional in that game.
Absolutely. But I will say this too, going back to what we saw the game before that, you go up 4-0. There's no way you're ever losing that game. There's just not. Right. Okay. And then not only do you not play defense, or it was sort of weird to watch because it almost looked like France had gone into the thing not wanting to win. Like they were
right.
They were pouting.
They were not ready. Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
They weren't ready. And then all of a sudden they're like, well, we'll give it a chance here. And rather than stomp them out, the England crowd, the team, they sort of just watched 3 goals go in. You're like, no, this is not going to happen. Because while nobody wants to play in the consolation game, nobody wants to lose the consolation game either. Okay. Right. And I get that they didn't put a lot of guys out there and they didn't need to. I understand that. But when it got down to the wire, nobody wanted to lose it. There's no doubt about it. And a lot more would have hurt England a lot more to lose that game than maybe even losing the semifinal, because it's against an arch rival that obviously that you're going to be playing 2 years from now in the Euro Cup. Yep. And you're looking like the guy who doesn't know how to win games. You mentioned a little earlier, you hinted around, I think there's little doubt that the manager for the English squad is done. There's no doubt he's going to get a lot of blame heaped on him for his ill-advised strategy and almost losing the consolation game.
So the World Cup's in the books. By the way, Mbappe with his 2 goals there in the first part of the second half ended up with 10. He got the Golden Boot, and well-deserved there. It's interesting, too. It's almost like he got the Golden Boot because he got to play in the game where they weren't going to play any defense, because it really was 8-8 with him and Messi, and they could have played 500 more minutes, and I don't think Argentina was going to score. And obviously when the player got sent off with the red card after two yellows, which equaled the red, that certainly put them behind the 8 ball. And Spain knew. It was funny. The announcers picked up on it great. Spain knew that they better win the game, in the regular or extra time, because if it went to penalty kicks, the field flips, and it's right. Argentina becomes the solid favorite.
Right. 100%. They were trying to, and I think Argentina was trying, that was their strategy at some point in time, to just go ahead and see if we can get through it to penalty kicks, and we have a real chance of winning at that point. But obviously that did not happen in this case. So, I'm glad it didn't. It seems like over the years that my recollection is every big soccer game worldwide ends in penalty kicks. Yes. Everybody's too afraid to make a mistake as opposed to going out and winning it, that kind of thing. So I think that was a very good situation. And you mentioned Mbappe getting the golden boot or whatever.
The golden boot.
Yeah, it means something. No, I would never say it doesn't mean something. But I don't know if it would be like losing the winning the NBA final, and the other guy gets high score. It doesn't really make much of a difference at that point.
And by the way, he also passed Messi for all-time goals in World Cup play.
Yes.
Now with 22 goals in World Cup. This is against the best of the best, and I know they get a chance to play some teams that really in pool play that really aren't up to their level, but still, I mean, that is saying a heck of a lot for Mbappe. So good on him. Good on Rich, Spain. Go ahead.
I watched him though. He shoots the ball a lot more than other guys do. Mm-hmm. If he gets a little bit of an opening, he'll take a shot. It sometimes doesn't look good, but it goes back to when we talk about hockey. Shoot the puck, right?
Right. Yes.
Shoot the ball.
Shoot the ball. Yep.
You know what I mean? Because it just puts that's just pressure and chaos. If you're a goalie, and you got that pretty wide area to cover, a ball gets shot and it's blocked in front of you. You're trying to look for it. You don't know where it is. A lot of times, did it go over my head? Did it go to the left? Is it stuck right here? A lot of quick thinking, and a lot of goals are scored on rebounds. We know, you see it right away. It's a rebound. That's how Spain scored their goal, on a rebound, or a kind of a deflection, so to speak. But nonetheless, it was there.
All right, 941 Sports Zone, presented as always by Mighty Dog Roofing of Southwest Florida. 941-251-4258 is the number. 941-251-4258. I'm coming down later this week. I'll be down there on Thursday. Yeah. I was watching the Weather Channel with interest over the weekend as this storm was supposed to go across the state just north of the 941. Now it's decided to head towards Texas, which fine with me. Yeah, I know you guys are getting a lot of rain that you need there, but no thanks. But get that roof taken care of, because there's a telltale sign. I mean, there was nothing going on, and then all of a sudden, 20%, 40%, 50%. I'm going, oh.
I know it's got to be on record somewhere, but I tell everybody all the time with this El Nino thing. Look, don't think that you're out of the wilderness. And it worries me because this is the kind of thing that's going to happen late in the season when the water is even warmer and the fronts coming through start to get cold. Labor Day, obviously, you're up in the Northeast. Labor Day is the beginning of fall. Okay, that's break out the long sleeves, right, Rich? You never know what's going to be on September 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, whatever it's going to be. Here, I guarantee I know it's going to be. It's going to be 95 and 95% humidity. Okay.
Yep.
So you get something that westerly continue flow from the west. Something gets stalled in the Gulf or whatever else it is, and it picks up a little circulation, just like the storm did. And what happens is, depending, that storm may form down by the Keys, or may storm by the Yucatan, or maybe out a little bit further. And here comes Mr. Cold Front on September 7th, 13th, or 11th. Again, look at the numbers. Look at the numbers, guys. The peak for hurricane season is like September 11th. It's 10th. That's what it's
officially
right?
It's officially the 10th, but yes,
right. So
you are right there.
Boom.
Right.
Because the first time a cold front's going to run through here, not to Venice, not to Sarasota, not to Port Charlotte, but to the Panhandle, and it starts to push that. It fuels the low pressure system, and there we go. So just be mindful of it. This is the typical early season storm, where you have something that just kind of sets up and doesn't want to go anywhere. And Bermuda High is fighting some other high pressure system or whatever, but it is all there right there for you guys. So don't be surprised if you don't get something into October, where it's like, oh my gosh, something just started in the Gulf, and here we go. That's what you're looking at as far as hurricanes. So Rich is right. Check your roof, get your supplies. Don't be foolish.
Exactly. All right, the golf season ended yesterday, Sunday, for those of you who
sure did
record on Monday, as the Open Championship, tremendous final round, John. So many chances. Cam Young goes out early and posts 64, I believe it was. Got to 9 under, posted it, and for a while it looked like it was going to be the winning score. I mean, as we got closer and closer, this, Scheffler fell off, DeChambeau fell off, and we'll get into Bryson in a couple of minutes. Everybody just kind of fell off. And then, like you said earlier, Ryan Fox. Yes, that Ryan Fox. I've never heard of him before this weekend. And he did something that's really hard to do, John. After the first day, he was 85th, which means no cut.
You're out.
You're out. Second day, he gets to even par. So he made the cut by a stroke. The cut line was +1. But he's basically one of the first guys off on Saturday, and he throws up a 62. So he goes from even to 8 under par, and he's right near the top of that leaderboard. Obviously, there were a couple of other really good scores. Sam Burns did very well. He actually was the leader at the end of the third round, but everybody was in position. And as it came down the stretch, Fox, as you said earlier, made the shots, made it happen. There were only 3 birdies on 18 on Sunday. There were only 27 birdies the entirety of the 4 days on 18. A monstrous finishing hole. And as it turns out, the difference is he birdies, Cam Young bogeys 18. The difference is 1 shot. Tremendous job, though, by Ryan Fox. And like you said, for us ham and eggers who are, trying to finish in 4 hours, he's our guy.
Well, you're right. And I will say this too, from what I could just see as from my point of view, that the greens were not easy to read.
No,
they weren't like 8-foot breaking putts downhill. Okay. But 8-foot break. It was speed. Okay. So you're playing at, those of everybody knows that any golf measuring the speed of the greens, it's a stimp meter. So I think those greens were running about 11.5 for the PGA. That's slow. Okay. And what happens is with those kind of greens that they have there, they're a little bit like you can read a 1 cup break to the left, but when it gets to the hole and starts slowing down, there's a lot of stuff that kind of like there might be something grew a little more than it last night, or that it gets a little edgy. You know what I mean? If you watch Scheffler putted atrociously.
Yeah, his ball striking was incredible.
Well, if you sat there and watched it, if he was the fourth in our group on a Saturday, I'd say, hey, can I tell you something, man? You were overreading every putt. Every putt you've read a cup outside, and the speed and the line are not matching up. If you're putting on an 11.5, you're not taking the full break because you got to hit it harder.
Right.
So you got to hitting it harder takes less break. I used to say how Tiger Woods was so good. Tiger Woods had no fear. Okay. He lined up an 8 or 10 foot putt and just take the break out of it and jam it in the back of the cup because he knew he was going to make whatever was coming back, or he'd get 6 birdies later on in the round and he'd be good to go. So they were playing what they saw, but the speed wasn't matching up because it wasn't getting there, or it wasn't. It was. They hit it hard enough and it didn't take the break like they expected. So those greens definitely caused a problem, but not because they were all souped up and all kinds of windmills and hit it through the elephant's nose or whatever else it is. This was straight up a speed issue, and Fox's game was about pace, whatever else. Hey, 1, 2, boom, hit the putt. That putt, Dan Hicks so wanted to do like a big lead up to that putt.
Yeah, he was trying,
and he's like, here's Fox. Oh, he's over the butt. It's in. Like, he had there was no like great moment for him to kind of feed into making this putt to win your first major. And all he got was boom, it's in left center, boom, no problem. And I thought it was refreshing. I think you're going to get a lot of people asking these guys during the FedEx, maybe the first week or two, about, hey, what do you think about Ryan Fox and his, fast putt, reading and hitting and go. They'll excuse it away because they've become so involved with their toys that they warm up with and their process and measuring break with your feet and all that kind of stuff. Look, and if it works for you, that's great. But that's, if you really think about it, Rich, where the most time is wasted on a golf course watching it on the PGA Tour is on the greens. Is on it's there's always a chances of a lost ball or something like that, or you got a ruling and it'll slow you down. But where they slow down, each and every one of them is on the greens. They are nonstop with that.
There was definitely some controversy on Friday. And I'm not going to talk too much about it because it kind of bugs me a little bit. Not so much the penalty, but how it was administered.
Right.
John, this was on the 5th hole, and you wait 3+ hours to address it. To me, that's tough. That really is tough. And then on top of that, you let Bryson basically lead you around for like a USA Network stayed with this until it was dark out, over an hour on Friday. It was compelling, and they were trying to make sure that they got every last commercial spot in for it. But in all seriousness, John, because, and I don't know, the rules of golf a little better. Shouldn't they have approached him a lot earlier than that?
So I'm going to do one quick thing and then right to that to kind of show you what's wrong with it. Lexi Thompson, about 6 or 7 years ago, when it was still the old Dinah Shore tournament out there in Palm Springs. Now it's on some obscure golf course in Houston, which that's totally ridiculous. But Lexi Thompson went out and she had a 2-3 stroke lead. And somebody called in. That was when they were all calling into the networks and said that she did something. She did where she marked her ball on the green. She didn't put it back in the exact spot where the mark was. And they had a microscope on it from a million miles away and whatever else it was. They walked up to her in the round during the round and said, it's a penalty. You know what I mean? Somebody called it in, and she never competed. She's never competed again for a major since then. Okay. Right. It was that upsetting of a situation that they said, I didn't do anything cheating wise. And it wasn't done in the nature of the situation, so it was, how she marked the ball. And in this case, you had a rules official with DeChambeau, with him. Yeah. They showed him when DeChambeau was finishing weed whacking around the ball with his feet. they they showed that guy, he was maybe 50 feet away from him. He went and made sure they found the ball. Then he walked away. Okay. So, does this happen? Does this happen to DeChambeau 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 40 years ago? No, it does not. No, it does not. Unless somebody narked on him or was mad about it or whatever, but that should be happening in the moment. You have a person right there. Now,
Right.
I'm going to tell you this right now, and it'll lead into something a little later on with me too. Did he do the wrong thing? He did. Okay. It's very well known. Hey, this branch is in my way. I can't swing. Oh, wait a second. Let me see if I'll stand on it because I might get a better line on the ball. You can't do it. All right. He was standing in fescue grass that was probably 3.5, 4 inches tall. There was no way where the ball was that he was going to get a backswing and get through that fescue that deep and make a shot unless he trampled it down. Okay. Now look, do I think he trampled it down per se for the shot, or was he just looking for the golf ball and stomping around for that reason? Okay. That can be an argument, but at that moment, somebody should have said to him, Bryson, stop stomping around looking for the golf ball. Okay. We know you're looking for it, but you can't alter the landscape in a penalty area because you can't even ground your club in a penalty area, Rich. So if they found the ball, what was he, finding the ball would have given him an opportunity to save a stroke, but he would have probably had to move it because he couldn't be able to be an unplayable. But he ends up, stomping around and getting himself a line. And I think he ended up parring the hole, if I'm not mistaken.
No, he bogeyed.
Okay. But nonetheless, okay, he gets the 2-stroke penalty. It should never have been a situation where that theater had to happen, where they go walking back out there at dusk to try to so he can show what he was doing. We know what you were doing, okay? But even if you were doing it in the spirit of trying to find the ball, you still can't do it. You still can't do it. I think that's my ball. Let me break this branch off. Oh, it is. Now I can hit the ball because the branch is broken. Does it apply? But the R&A made a huge mistake by not having that situation be looked at. That guy who was watching that game, with DeChambeau, that was his call. He didn't make it. You can't go back and rejudge the Super Bowl because you went back and said, "Oh yeah, that was pass interference." You can't do it.
Right.
So to go back and redo it after the ruling was done was ridiculous, in my opinion.
Yeah, I 1,000% agree. It sounds like we're going to have the same what's bugging us, but
I have a myriad of options. So you can go first today because I wrote 3 of them down.
Oh wow, look at you! Lots of things bugging you.
Well,
here's the other here's the other thing, John. You're the R&A. You're the official. Assess the penalty and let's move on. Instead, there's this back and forth for like over an hour.
Right.
And then they assess it, and of course Bryson's livid because he's making his case and everything. I thought it was a little childish that he was going to just take his ball and go home, and I'm sure somebody said, "Hey, Bryson, that's probably not the best career move, especially since Liv is literally dying on the vine, and you want to place to play golf. Don't do that." So at least cooler heads prevailed there, but. The way they handled it all the way around was just, the R&A is supposed to be this, proper, they are the rules of golf, and they botched this from Jump Street. I mean, if it happens on 17, that's one thing. This is the 5th hole.
Right. 1,000%. And like I said, so that's the thing, that to go that long, to sort of hit him, and guy just went. He was in second place at that point, 8 under.
Second.
Yeah. So I will say this: what saved the R&A overall is that Bryson really crapped the bed on Sunday.
Yes.
If he would have lost by 2 strokes, that would have been talked about for a while, and they would have had to really deal with some stuff at that point in time. I will say this: I think from both sides, DeChambeau's side and the R&A side, they should both release a statement together saying, "Hey, this is what it was," and whatever it may be, because I think it'll validate DeChambeau as sort of a crowd favorite these days. And I think the RNA can reestablish a little credibility in saying like, hey, we're going to fix the mechanism and the procedure in this. That's what you do when something like this happens. You find a way to make it never happen again. And I think that's how it starts.
The other thing that came out of on Sunday, apparently Rory during his presser after basically showing his incredible disdain for Bryson, basically said he's going to take a break. That basically, he's worn out from, winning the Masters, and it's been a long season, and he missed. John, did he miss 2 or 3 signature events?
3.
3.
I was reading earlier today. It's 3. And
Okay.
I mentioned this, I think, last time about Rory. I think the whole last couple of years has really worn out Rory. Rory's you got to remember what Rory is. He's a Northern Ireland guy. He learned how to play golf at his dad's course, whatever. He's not a jet setting, debutante kind of guy, whatever you want to put it. He's a small town guy, you know what I mean? And
right.
I think, I a couple of years ago, Rory decided he was going to get married to Caroline Wozniacki, or the tennis player.
Wozniacki.
Yep. Walks away from it, in the midst of a couple of years later. After that, he's married. They're going to get divorced. They were, hey, we're getting divorced. And then 2 weeks later, he's not getting divorced. I think that being number one in the world takes its toll. Okay. I've always said, I'm a big Jack Nicklaus guy. All right.
Yeah, me too.
Because Jack Nicklaus won young. Jordan Spieth was 19 and so-and-so was this. Well, Nicklaus was he's the young guy like Tiger was, right? And he told everybody the hardest thing to do is be a family man, or have responsibilities at home when you're out on the road. And he was out on the road back then on buses. Who knows what they were riding around in, right? And they weren't winning $6.8 million for a tournament. They're winning a couple hundred, maybe 60,000 or whatever they were winning, right? He was out there playing the game, and managed to have success and balance his family life. And I think Rory's in that boat. He won the Masters 2 years ago, the first Masters he won. I said he had a nervous breakdown on that green. That wasn't happiness. That was sobbing and hyperventilating.
Relief.
And I don't know. I think he was happier with this one, the second one, than he was with the first one, because there was joy attached to it. And you watched him; he went straight downhill after winning that second Masters. He's played below average for him. He's had moments. Okay, he can still hit the ball 390 yards if he needs to. Okay, but it's the part of the game where he's failing at, or hasn't been playing as well at, is the short game, putting. Those things that sort of take the nuance of the game. He's not really been doing that. I think he needs time off, definitely, no doubt about it. And I know he probably don't want to say this, but he needs to look at the PGA and say, I need a mental checkout. Don't be fining me for missing golf tournaments here. You know what? I saved your asses because I didn't go away for $1 billion offered to me by LIV. Because if he would have went, LIV would be thriving right now.
I think so.
Well, here's why. I think that Rory has that which pisses me off about the Ryder Cup stuff with him and his family, what they did in New York. I thought it was ridiculous, because he saved the PGA. He said, no, I'll take the lead here. It's not going to be Jordan Spieth or somebody. I'm a DP tour guy as well as a PGA tour guy. I play different places. I know the Saudis. I know I've been around this stuff. And he said, no, their intentions are not good. And there's no legitimacy to where they play, how they play their golf. There's no legacy, or there's no nothing that shows the history of golf off like the PGA does. And he put himself out there, and it took a lot out of him, because while he knows those people, man, that was a tough battle for him. And in the midst of it, he slays the demon that is the Masters and gets himself the Grand Slam of golf. and I think he needs some time off. There's no doubt about it. And I would, if I was the PG, I would give him some leniency and then let it happen.
Well, he's missed 3, like you said, signature events, and I think by him taking time off indirectly, okay, I know he needs time off, but really, it takes away from the FedEx Cup, big time.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Well,
and you know, you and I both talked about that. You and I both consider Sunday the end of the golf season,
it is.
basically.
It
Yeah.
is.
I mean, will we flick it on a Sunday, and there's nothing else on or what have you? Sure. I mean, because you want to watch every once in a while the best players in the world, and as we get closer to the FedEx Championship, we get down to 30 players. I'll probably take a peek at that tournament, but really, I mean, it's done. It's over with, and it's a shame because and one of your best players, one of your most marketable players, is not going to play. But he's got enough points that even if he takes like a month or a month and a half off, Johnny comes right back. He's going to be right in the mix.
He might be able to get all the way to the Tour Championship without having to play. That's how far he can go with it. That's possible. It's possible. But how sharp he'll be, that remains to be seen.
And we'll see it, I'm sure. All right. The Rays. Oof. Wow. Couple things I didn't like. Okay, you and I both are Kevin Cash guys.
Yes.
I got friends that just hate him for some reason. I guess you'd rather have the Hal McRae days or the early Joe Madden days when 75 wins and you'd have a parade. But I thought Kevin Cash, the Red Sox were hot, and I know the All-Star break could cool you down and what have you. But the way the Rays approached this series, it's almost like, I don't want to say they gave it up, but if you look at, and again, the All-Star break, yeah, Rasmussen pitched in the game. Sure. Okay. Martinez pitched in the game. They pitched an inning. They threw 15 pitches. It was basically on their throw day. Neither one sees the mound against the hottest team in baseball. They throw, the doubleheader, they throw Jax out there, who's a guy they're trying to make a starter. I could see that, and he struggled. And then they throw Englert, I never say his name right, but anyway, Englert out there, and he's a guy that's even further behind Jax. He's a spot starter at best, and I know they want to eventually stretch him out, but you throw those two guys out there and then try to tell your fans you're really serious about winning. And then Saturday, Ian Seymour, who has really struggled on the road. So the first 3 guys that pitch in a series of this magnitude are like your 4th, 5th, and 6th best pitchers. I don't understand it. I don't.
And what I didn't like either is, look, I get the Red Sox are on a heater right now. They're 13 in a row. But every home run doesn't have to be throwing the bat across at the dugout, grabbing your crotch. Man, you know what? If I'm the Rays and I'm in first place and I got the cellar dweller on getting to 500 now, getting the third wild card spot, I'm not standing there and taking that shit from anybody. I'm not gonna stand. Look like they just said, well, whatever. We got our ass kicked, so we're good to go. We'll go on to the next one. And it looked very like you use the All-Star break as I'm not sure they can use it as an explanation to the fan base, but I think they all said the same thing. Hey, let's restart things. We'll give everybody a week off. It looked like a really ill-conceived idea, and they better get themselves up and running this week, because if they don't and they go on a slide, boy, everybody's back in it. If that's the case, right? And now you had a nice lead. You're at the top of the AL, the American League, and now that's what you show, and that's what you put out there. Now, if anything, you might give some of the field players a chance to rest, if that's the case, or whatever it may be. But come on, that to me, again, looking at it, I peaked it a little bit this week. I'll be honest with you, I didn't spend a lot of time on baseball this week with everything going on, but nonetheless. the box score told it all. And then watching when you're watching the highlights, you're like, this is what's going on. It
Right.
was ridiculous. It really was. It was they should be embarrassed. Hopefully Kevin Cash is telling the players, hey guys, I'll take the blame on some of this, but we got to play with a little more energy than what we played, because otherwise we are going to be in last place. It can happen that quick.
Sure can. And, then on Sunday, they finally trot Shane McClanahan out there. And
Right.
listen, I have no problem with giving him extra rest. Obviously, towards the end of the first half, he really started to struggle a little bit. But the Red Sox were throwing Sonny Gray on Sunday. That's when you throw one of your, your Englert or whom have you. You're
put a tomato can out
win.
there, right?
Right. You're not going to win that game.
Yeah.
So, they, other than the inside the park homer by Mesa Jr., they didn't do much against Sonny Gray. And, he's probably going to be a Red Sox now, because the Red Sox are over 500 and they consider themselves right back in this race. And it's kind of funny. The trade deadline is 2 weeks from Monday as we record this. So on August 3rd, Monday is the trade deadline. What is there, John? 6, 7 teams that are, I did the 6, 7 thing. But anyway, are there like 7 or 8 teams that are out of it? No, everybody else is alive. I mean,
yeah,
and so that narrows down what you're going to be able to trade for. I don't know. I didn't like the thought process. And now they got to go to Toronto for 4, a place where they traditionally have struggled for sure. And Toronto's playing better, so they better, get into that series. And obviously they're going to, Martinez and Rasmussen are going to pitch 2 of the games. So I would fully expect them to be a little better in that series. But I mean, then they got the next 3 home series: Cleveland, Texas, and the White Sox. And we joke, those teams are barely up 500, but they're all in first place. I mean, well, Cleveland's a game behind the White Sox. Texas is in first place in the West. These teams have something to play for. You gotta get serious here. And are you going to be a buyer, or are you just going to sit there and stand pat?
That's what I'm ready to say right here. So this is where we have to find out what the management's going to be about, because let's say the Rays, they lost 4 in a row coming out of the All-Star break, right? So that's where they came out of. Let's say they go 4-6 the next 10 games.
Right.
Okay. And they whatever they're 4-10 coming out of the All-Star break. Do you look at it and you say, you know what? Maybe we're not. It's up to these guys to do. Do we really want to invest in this? And because it could mean that much. It really could mean that. So I look at the next 2 weeks and I'm saying, this is very important time for the Rays. And if you're a Rays player and you're the Rays manager, that's what I'm talking about. Hey, we played like crap. I'll take part of the blame here. We set it up with management that's to run these guys out there, and it didn't work out. But we're going back to where we were before this, guys. We got to go out and play 700 baseball for the next 3 weeks, because if we don't, we don't know. Maybe we might be sitting back here and this may be a different team, not because we brought guys in, because guys are out the door that got traded away for a player to be named later, that kind of thing.
Right. And the Yankees are still scuffling. They did win
that's the
Sunday night. Right.
They
did win Sunday night against the Dodgers to salvage a game in that series. But because you've been just kind of rolling around, your 4-game lead is down to a game and a half, 2 in the loss column. And, they're not playing well. And they're going to eventually get Judge and Stanton and everybody else back. And then next thing you know, if the Red Sox stay hot, Red Sox are playing the Orioles this week. The Orioles have won 7 in a row and have put themselves right back in the picture. So,
we're going to talk about that later too. I got that. But no, you're right, Rich. There's a lot there. And I said, when you're a winner, choke them out.
Yep.
I got to come in on a 9-game winning streak, sweep them, take 3 out of 4. Show them who the boss is so they can go back and start second guessing themselves. You gave them more life than it was than what they deserved. You gave it to them. So now you put them back in. And so the last place team now has all this energy. Okay. The division's like, here we go. waking up the Giants. Okay, waking up hey everybody, wake up. Rays are good for losing right now, so let's get caught up real quick. No, get it. This next 2 weeks, very, very important.
Absolutely. All right, the 941 Sports Zone again presented by Mighty Dog Roofing of Southwest Florida. If you've heard him throughout the show, the Mighty Dog, 941-251-4257 is the number. 941-251-4257, locally owned, nationally backed.
I have two Mighty Dogs and just a doorway away from me right now.
Really?
I'm dog sitting from my brother and another family member. So yeah, two dogs. So they're being very good.
Yours are nice and quiet. Yours are nice and quiet. Mine's
crying a little bit, but
everybody walks by the house. He's got to send out a big time warning.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right. The situation at Michigan gets muddier and muddier, in my opinion. It came out earlier today, Monday, that AD Ward Manuel is reportedly going to step down at the end of the calendar year, which will be after football, unless, of course, they're in the playoff. And that's despite the fact that the university released a summary of the independent investigation that it paid more than $11 million to have. And they came out with a statement saying the culture in the athletic department was okay and the issues were, quote, not widespread. You spent $11 million? And
I call BS.
Yeah, total BS. Total BS. And the folks in Michigan, particularly the TV and radio stations and the newspapers, are hot because they're trying to get the information. They're using the Freedom of Information Act, and Michigan is just not having any of it. I could see this thing ending up in court. I really could.
So I go back to what I said last week. This is all the Jim Harbaugh effect. Okay. Mm-hmm. He came in with the AD right about within the same time frame. They're married to each other for that hire. Everything that was going on in and around that program, the entirety of the program, it stinks. It smells. I said I've been around when it stinks at programs that I root for. Okay, and so it stinks. And rather than say it stinks and here's why, they're playing this. Oh, what are they going to have? A send-off party for the guy on the 31st of December? Thanks so much. Give him a gold watch. What the hell are they going to do? They're basically saying, no, nothing here. We're good. Everything's fine. We got it under control. It was minor stuff. Oh, it's minor when you had a guy dressing up like the Pink Panthers, hiding his face and trying to get,
counter
sign stealing, whatever you're doing, right? Ridiculous. Yep. You have an assistant coach who became the head coach, handpicked by the head coach who left because there was trouble brewing. Okay. And he's having a years long affair with a younger woman in his office, a subordinate. Oh, nothing's going on. Not a thing. Your basketball coach, you hired him. He's coming from a program, an FAU, that's a huge step up to go to Michigan. And he leaves after 2 years. And I'm saying, you and I have been talking about it for a couple of weeks about Dusty May. I'm thinking he wants to get out for whatever his reasons are, but there's a lot of bad things going on. This is not a little, this is an institutional, which is the athletic department problem, a huge problem. If this was the science lab, they'd be fired.
Right.
I don't understand this. It's ridiculous. But
the president, John, the president basically last week when he started talking, basically lauding what Ward Manuel has done and basically backing him, you knew this is probably where it was going to end up.
Right. I got a buddy of mine lives in Michigan. He's actually an LSU fan, but he'll root for Sparty, as he says, against the Wolverines. And I can tell you right now that this is pure Michigan through and through. They have this belief that somehow or another they are a higher being when it comes to with sports or whatever. They invented football. They did this, whatever it may be. And grant you, the rivalry with Michigan, Ohio State. Michigan doesn't like Ohio State because they think that they don't belong with them. They think that they should wipe their feet on them. They don't see them as an equal in a lot of ways. they could, because of the academic standards or whatever how they believe it. This reeks of that arrogance. This reeks of that mentality. And look, there's the end. They can do whatever they want and say whatever they want, but they still have a conference to answer to, right?
Yes.
So let's see what the Big Ten does.
They're not going to do anything. Come on.
Well,
you really think they're going to do something?
So here's what I'm saying. Well, Ohio State doesn't like him very much, right?
Yeah,
a lot of people don't like Michigan in that conference. Maybe somebody says, so that's how it rolls. All the stuff can happen, and everybody's going to be like, that's okay. Hire, this Michigans can go through all this crap and nothing comes of it. I don't know if there's any type of reach that the Big Ten has about that stuff, but I would think that somebody might say, what's going on in Ann Arbor and why are we not involved? Why are we in a conference at all if there's no sort of guidance or whatever you're looking for? So I don't know. I'm looking for reasons, but again, like anything else, it wasn't me. That song by Shaggy. It wasn't me. It wasn't me. Nothing here to see. We're good. Everything's fine. And that young lady, she's great. She's living in a $6 million house, right now, and she's happy. She's not gonna cause any trouble. She's good. Of course not. She got paid off too.
Well, no, she's suing actually.
Well, again, so there's more stuff that may happen, but the idea is that's what they're hoping happens, that it just goes away in the night.
It's not going to just go away. So it'll be interesting to see. I mean, they got their natty in football, they got their natty in basketball, and it's everything's okay. I mean, everything's fine. Like you said, it's just they're acting like it's hang a banner. All right, SEC Media Days going on in Tampa. Greg Sankey, of course, the commissioner of the SEC, addressed the media on Monday, and he was all over the dish. But one of the things he talked about was this new bill that congressional leaders have come up with, the Protect College Sports Act, of which he, as well as the Big Ten, so the SEC and the Big Ten, are not in support of this bill the way it is written. He wants some changes made. The bill was brought forth by Ted Cruz, the Republican senator from Texas, and Maria Cantwell, the Democratic senator from Washington. So the SEC, as Sankey said, does not support the bill in its current form. And he says there have been real conversations whether the league should break away, as it was suggested earlier this year by the Georgia president. So, question, you think he's serious?
Yes. But I'll say, but I'm going to tell you what I read today. Okay. Just a little bit what I read. I read blah, 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 blah. We want more money. Blah, 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 blah. Don't tell us how much money we're going to get. Blah, 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 blah. We'll set our own rules. Okay. It's all it was. They politely said, thanks for the nice idea. We'll handle it ourselves. We'll send you the copy of the bill we want you to pass, and you're going to pass it. Okay. This was a absolute, I'm the king of the throne moment.
Yep.
And not Sankey just on his own, the SEC in particular.
Right.
No, this is what we're going to do. Great. You want this? Because it was about, I heard one part of it, well, they want to do this so that money is shared properly or whatever. And he's like, no. We're not doing that. Okay. That's not how it's, because they were talking about how, I guess it's other conferences or whatever can pool themselves together to make media contracts. Or like, you're not doing that because you're not going to get like, hey, everybody else that plays other than the SEC, the Big Ten, and can go and make a TV contract with Fox. And we're the ones who get the big contracts. Those guys can go play on the CW, or they can go play, at 11:30 at night on ESPN Ocho or whatever else it is. They don't want them to get powerful. They're trying. This is a power move, and it's a power move against the Congress on top of everything else. Now I know Congress really doesn't have a lot of, they can get involved in. I'm sure they can pull some sort of mumbo jumbo out, and this could go on for 10 years. But nonetheless, all I heard was, no, we're going to make the most money. We'll figure it out how we're going to do it. You want to get involved and get involved with the logistics in regards to the rights of student athletes regarding NIL and where they can go. We'll listen to that, but do not tell us how to handle our money. This is not, you don't get to play in that arena. We're not going to make sure that TCU gets the same share as Georgia and Florida do in the SEC. We're not playing that stuff. So that's what I read, or that's at least what I felt I was reading. And unfortunately, Rich, both the Big Ten and the SEC are playing this game of mine's bigger than yours. Okay.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And we've got 3 national championships in a row. Ha 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 ha. Aren't we so great? No, we're so good that our worst team could beat your best team. What do you think about that? It's this back and forth thing because they're just going to go to the next contract and say, we want $40 billion and you can get all the rights to all these years worth of sports. It's all it's about is setting up the next contract and how the next contract is going to be. And they could give 2 craps if somebody plays 9 years. They're not about it. They prove what they want to prove. They're as soon as they talk money, that's the first words he came out of his mouth. He's not worried about fair equity or whatever, or how many portals you can go into. They can figure that out and they can switch it around anytime they want to. That's not even a big deal. They are concerned that Congress are going to be upbeat about their money. And I think that's the sad part about it.
No, about money. I can't believe that.
No,
it's all about money. Yeah.
And the funny thing about it was the NCAA who was about money for all those years with the bowl games. Now the conferences take over and they're just another version of what the NCAA was. So what do you know? It's the same shit.
So the SEC media days continue through the week. We'll be interested to see how this goes. You were talking, there's some of your friends are actually going to this.
Oh, well, I just heard but people are thinking that it's like a, what are you going to get? You're going to get autographs. I'm sure like 2 or 3 of the players go. I mean,
right.
I mean, if you're in Tampa and you got nothing else to do except go and watch guys give interviews and whatever, and I'm sure there's more to it than that, Rich. Something I say, oh no, they had Likes had the new potato chips out, or Dr. Pepper was selling, you can get your name carved in a can of Dr. Pepper. I'm sure it had any and all of that stuff, but to go to a media day, and by the way, we'll talk about our media day here shortly, but
yes,
I wouldn't expect an audience to be at our media day, so to speak.
Right. You can watch it on YouTube, and we'll tell you all about that.
And
coming
and
up.
By the way, and now those particular cases, you know what I'm saying? Like you can watch it from home, and you don't have to be at the event itself. I think it's interesting, but nonetheless, having an audience or having you spend a day there's a lot.
It is. All right, John, we talked about this last week. It's that time of year again. The vacation is over. The golf tournament in Tahoe is over, because that's where a lot of the players go.
Yep.
In the summertime, and training camps are beginning to open. As a matter of fact, rookies, and I forgot to write it down, John. Rookies from one team already started reporting on the 17th. So that's like 3 days ago. But the full squad will be in for Arizona and Carolina. Those are the 2 teams that are participating in the Hall of Fame game. They will be in on Wednesday. And by the time we hit the airwaves, depending on when we do this, because I'll be down there, but I'll be traveling on Monday, so I don't know what day we're going to do it. But certainly by a week from Tuesday, the 28th, everybody's going to be in camp. Everybody's going to be in camp. I don't know when the practices start, where the one team against the other, which I think are even more. It's really funny. They still want to make you buy and give you the thought that the preseason games mean a little something, and yet a lot of these teams are having like public workouts, like they're working out against each other, and then you get to the game and nobody plays,
right?
Which I think is the biggest dog and pony show that there is. But Arizona and Carolina in camp as of Wednesday, and it's getting close to being football season again.
Rich, it is football season. Let's just put it as bluntly as possible. It's football season. We know it. It's there's interest in everything that's done. It's who's signed and who's going to be the next breakout rookie player, and you just watch it over and over again. To me, I can only consume so much of that speculative kind of TV broadcasting, but nonetheless, there's an appetite for it. We just went through a dead period. If there was no World Cup, the NFL would already been ruling the roost after the All-Star break. So there would have been nothing else to talk about. So that being the case, here we go. And I've had conversations already with some friends about who's going to win this division and that division, and who's better than you didn't realize they were so good. I think that there's a lot of always a lot to talk about, and you know what I mean? Just embrace it, because that's the way it's going to be. Baseball, especially local here in Tampa, boy, the Rays don't go back, don't go south for the next 10 days. If you do, there goes that fan base. They're going to start paying
all
attention.
gone. They're all going to be at what is it? Adventure Health
Advent
Complex.
Health. Yeah,
Advent Health. Okay, Advent Health Complex. To me, it's still $1 place. Come on. Yeah, I know you want to put a sponsor on it, and you want to make a little more coin, but it is what it is. So, by the way, one thing I didn't add to the rundown, the summer league ended last night with the championship game. That's in the NBA, of course, and congratulations to the Golden State Warriors, who won the summer league as they beat Memphis with a big fourth quarter comeback.
Well, you know what?
We're done.
Some guys play, but that's about all I can say about that. So
I just kind of did it to be totally tongue in cheek. All right, here we go. Locks of the week. You know what? We've done this how many weeks? More than 40 weeks, and this is the first time you and I actually went head to head.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, you should have won. I mean, your coach. Your coach.
I'm a little bitter at the manager. If you want,
it's still going to taste good, but you should have won. You should have.
When they went 1-0, I'm like, okay, gotta just keep playing the way you're playing, because you've really suffocated them. And you know what? I think too. I'm not saying that Spain wouldn't have won as handily as they did against Argentina in the championship, but watching what England did and said, you know what? That's what we're not going to do. Right there, we're not going to do that. Pay attention. Right. And they had a blueprint right there. England just only did it for 90 minutes or whatever it was. So, or less than 90 minutes.
That's right. All right. So I'm again 2 games back. I was a season low for me, 3 games back. I was able to get, I believe I'm 24-17 and you're 26-15. I believe that's
that's the thing. I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
All right. And it's getting harder and harder to do locks because I will tell you it's but I got one. And it'll probably be over by the time anybody watches this, unless they're watching live like my brother is, like Kerry Black is, who by the way was yay for Spain in the chat.
Okay.
But I'm gonna take a game on Monday night. Dodgers, Phillies.
Okay.
In Philly. Philly just lost a series to the Mets. And the Dodgers, for just the second time this year, they played right around 100 games. For only the second time this year, they're actually a dog tonight.
Wow.
On Monday night. So I'm going to take the dog. I'm going to say the Dodgers beat the Phillies and continue them on their, little bit of a downward spiral after the All-Star game, which, by the way, was in Philadelphia on Tuesday night. And by the way, what a snoozer! I didn't even put it on the rundown, John, because holy crap! I mean, the AL scored 3 runs in the first inning, and then they basically
8.5 innings of nothing.
Yeah, one home run, 4-0 American. And it's kind of funny because they interviewed a couple of people right after the game, and they're like, listen, what do you expect? These guys come in for 1 inning, throw 100 miles an hour. Are you supposed to be able to hit them? They think this is what the All-Star game is going to be for years and years to come.
Definitely. They play a real game. Give them credit, right? They play a real game. People
Right.
get hurt. Almost
More
did,
real
right?
than right. Oh, Junior Caminero. Hello.
Almost got hurt. But well, that being the case, Rich, it is what it is. It's an all-star game and it's boring. They're all
Yes.
boring.
You know,
So
that
what are
was
you gonna do? As soon as I saw 3-0, I'm like, that's over with. Nobody's
right.
gonna score 3 runs again. So
Yeah.
that's the deal. So all right, so you got Dodgers over Phillies.
Tonight,
I am gonna
Monday
go a
night.
little bit with like you did the other. I'm gonna pick the Orioles will win the series against the Red Sox.
Ooh, I love it. I love it. Now I got to figure out, is it a 3-game series or a 4-game
I think it's
series?
a 3-game series. Okay. So I think that because I'm pretty sure it's a 3-game series. However, like you said, Orioles are hot. Red Sox, you know what? That's what kind of annoyed me about watching what the Rays did. Red Sox, it's like they almost got handed 4 more games. I don't think
Right.
the Orioles are going to be that team. I think the Orioles that they're looking and saying, no, you're in last place. Or you were in last place, and we're going to make sure you go back there. And I
Yeah,
think that's
okay.
what's going to happen. So Orioles take the series over the Red Sox.
And you're right. It is a 3-game series that starts on Monday night
Mhm.
at Fenway. And there's actually
no.
there's some buzz now. And between the two teams, they've won 20 in a row. Red Sox have won 13 in a row. The Orioles, nothing to sneeze at, won 7 in a row, and they're right back in. I think they're only 2 games behind Boston right now.
So I know what I noticed, Rich, too. This was kind of why I even did this. Watching how the Red Sox players acted like foolish, immature people. You know what I'm saying? That sort of didn't. That didn't sit well with me. That's not a sustainable way to play the game. You know what I mean? They just, they're almost. It's like playing men's league softball, and the team that's in 5th manages to out hit the team that's in 1st, and all they're doing is talking crap to this team. And then next thing you know, you get when 2 games later you're playing them again, and they're whitewashing you. I don't say that but I think the Orioles are more, I think, grounded right now than the Red Sox are. So we'll see if that works.
All right. So there you go. Locks of the week. I have the Dodgers on Monday night, specific 1 game.
Yep.
And you have the Orioles taking 2 out of 3 from the Sox. I actually like that. I really do.
Good.
So we'll wait and see how that goes. All right. Final segment time. It's time to see what's bugging me. You want me to go first?
Because I have 3. I have potentially 3. I haven't picked one yet.
Yeah. Well, again, it bugs me that and I've already kind of said it, but the RNA just absolutely fumbling the ball here with Bryson DeChambeau. And listen, you can say what you want about Bryson. I kind of like the guy, but I mean, there are people out there that just can't stand him. And obviously, listening to the comments yesterday, Rory's one of them. He cannot stand DeChambeau. Okay. But nonetheless, I mean, this should have been taken care of a lot sooner, and there shouldn't have been a back and forth. And just the way it was handled was Bush League. It was total 100% Bush League by the RNA. And like you said, John, I thought you used a great word, credibility. They lost a little bit of credibility in the way they handled this. So that's bugging me that, it's bugging me also that the golf season's over, that literally it's it's the middle of July and we're all done. I know all you FedEx scuppers, all you people that work for FedEx or, enjoy the sponsorship. Come on.
No,
really?
It's hard to watch. Again, there's no meat to it. It just seems like it's sort of it's like a play-in game kind of scenario, and guys aren't showing, so it's kind of tough. I give him credit for trying to put a playoff system together and putting a lot of money into it as well. But who won it 2 years ago? Who won it last year?
Well, last year was Tommy Fleetwood.
And then the year before that was Victor Hovland.
Correct. Yep.
And but to know that is you wouldn't know because they came up when nobody was watching and it got hot for 2 or 3, tournaments or what it was. So yeah, very difficult to kind of keep an eye on. It's just, I know it's worth $10 million, but nowadays $10 million doesn't mean anything to anybody anymore.
Right. Exactly. It's no. All right.
So, I'm going to give you all the ones I had. First one I was going to say something about, but don't know what's happening with it. If Tom Brady becomes a professional wrestler, I hope he gets pile driven through a table. That's all I got to say. If he does this stupid, if that's with Logan Paul, what does he need? He has a cycle. I told you there's something wrong with his ego.
Yeah.
All the way back to Deflategate, he's messed up. It hasn't happened yet. So it's really not for me to say bugging me just yet. It's close. Okay.
DeChambeau, well, it's bugging you. It's bugging you that the fact that it's even being discussed.
Oh my God, you kidding me? Then I said, and I watched the tape, and I'm like, am I supposed to really believe this? What in the? I mean,
well, it's wrestling. You're not supposed to believe it. It's a story.
But who talked him into this, or did he ask for it? I have no earthly idea. It makes no sense.
Okay, I can live with that.
The DeChambeau situation, like I said, it bugged me how all of it went down, and it bugged me that he was going to go home. It got silly. Yep. Scheffler stuck up for him, and Rory didn't. That's just Rory being on the front lines of all the stuff that's been with the PGA. Right. I'm sure I like to get Tiger's perspective, but Tiger never gives an opinion, so we don't know about Tiger.
Well, he's at driver school.
Yeah, that's what you want to call it. What I guess what bothered me the most was the manner in which I wouldn't say a lot of it was yesterday. It came to light, but how it happened. I don't like the poor sportsmanship that goes along with losing a match at the World Cup. Okay, you're representing your country. Okay, and Argentina made fools of themselves yesterday. But by the way, they made fools of themselves almost every game. All right. It's and I get it. You say, oh, it's culturally different. I don't know. All right. But I'm watching the guy from Argentina, he's talking after the match is over to a guy from Spain. The guy from Spain's trying to, hey, great game. And he's talking and putting his fingers in his face, saying this, and this. By the way, the penalty that happened to go to 10 men for Argentina, I've never seen that kind of a hit on the soccer pitch. Have you?
No.
That looked like a crossing pattern over the middle.
Of course, I think. Wait a minute now. I think there was a little bit of embellishment, but nonetheless, it definitely was a card. It was a card. It was a card, and he already had a yellow earlier in the game for dissension, which I love when they said dissension. So
that being the case, I just don't like the lack of sportsmanship after the match is over, pushing and shoving over what? What I don't. I mean, I get there's a physicality to soccer. I get a little bit of that, but another thing, how the referees stand there like idiots, and they shake everybody's hand. They're all three of them in a row, and they're getting filleted by the coaches and by the players after the match is over. Guy just did his job, and now he's going to stand there and have to be there to shake your hand, and you're going to go up there and cuss him out in your language, whatever that may be. How does that work? I don't get it. So it kind of got shoved under the rug, and a lot of the guys that are soccer guys, like you got the what's his name, Theory, the guy from
Henry
Zoltan, Alexi Lawless,
who by the way is Zoltan, who just announced that he's done.
And I heard Rebecca Lowe say, don't be surprised he doesn't come back and the return of Zoltan happens or whatever. So I love that guy. But the idea is that why you need to be, that poor a sport, I don't understand it. And it gets funny too, because, pushing and putting your hand in somebody's face. I mean, what Bellingham came up behind the Argentinian guy and smacked him in the back of the head.
Yeah.
What is that? What is that? I don't get that. That's
you said what it is. It's poor sportsmanship.
So that's very Euro. I should have pulled your white glove off and smacked him in the face with it or something, because it made no sense to see that. So that was a little bit annoying for me, especially and I'm sure it happens all the time now that we don't see it, and that happens in a lot of different situations. But, we've, in going back to high school football, and here's a great segue for us, Rich.
Yes, go.
There's talk about getting rid of the handshake line because it does nothing but except create problems. And that's unfortunate that it does, but that's what I see. I think this sort of meandering around after the game and then trying to take it out on somebody or try to cuss them down or dress them down for some reason makes no sense to me. So very disappointed that that has to happen after these games, and then to turn you back on the team when they getting their medals, they just beat you.
Yeah.
Why do
Fair
that?
and square, by the way, kicked your ass. I know it was
Yeah.
1-0, but they beat you soundly.
Yeah, I don't know what to complain about. There wasn't
Yeah.
anything physically that was done to them, and anything seemed to be right. So yeah, stupid. I don't get it.
All right. Well, it's that time of year. I get on a plane on Thursday. I'll be down there about 11 a.m. I got a 5:01 flight. How about that? A.M.
Well, you should be
My
busy
Uber
at the
will be
airport.
here. My Uber will be here like 3 a.m.
3, yeah, 3. You got to get there at 3. You never know. Every time you say nothing's going to happen in TSA, it does. So.
Yep, exactly. But we're getting ready for the fourth annual. John, that you deserve hats off to this. This is only my second. What you've created here is tremendous. What's our count right now? Are we at
17?
17. Okay.
17, and we're fingers crossed on 2 more. And by the way, there's no mandatory, there's no you got to do this kind of thing. This is if you like this, you get exposure for your team and your players, your program. You get a chance to we sort of help sort of lay out your season for you a little bit and big games and whatnot. I honestly believe that the fact that the 941 Sports Zone podcast and the Sutton Coast Kickoff Media Day, working obviously same people, same situation, just different names on the marquee. That the coaches have recognized that their programs benefit from doing these types of things.
Absolutely.
Your players get to grow up and actually sit there and have a conversation regarding their play and their academics or whatever it may be. The coach gets a chance to talk about the program and how you want to come to their games. It's very brand specific. It's you get your 20 minutes to do that stuff. So I really believe that there's something to it, because social media is a big part of everybody's life
now. Absolutely.
And especially to 14 to 20 somethings. Okay. And now you got kids that are going to say, wow, my coach and my team, or even myself, I'm going to be interviewed for a press conference scenario by the local Xavier from ABC7 will be there. We got James Hill coming back, yourself, Matt Geller. We've got the folks from Rivals going to be there. I've asked all of them local print media to be there as well. So whoever's there, you're going to get all that exposure from all those angles, from all those different places. It saves you a lot of time from both sides, from the media side and the coaching side, to have to go and have conversations about things that you can take care of in one quick 20 minutes session, for that matter. But nonetheless, I think it's really important, because you need to have that footprint on the social media side of things. It validates you with your kids, it validates you with the fan base, it validates you with the parents, it validates you with everybody. And so there's something to go with that. And so we've got a great venue, Carroll GMC.
Yes, I was just going to say.
Monty Jacobs it has done a great job over the years helping me out with this. And all the people at Carroll GMC have embraced this program with us. So we're looking forward to it. It's a long day, 8:30 to 4-ish at this point. And again, and it's like 17 teams. I count 23 teams in the area, but IMG, I always ask to come, but really they do their own media day, and why not?
I was just going to say,
they have enough people to interview. Each kid gets his own 20 minutes on their team. So it's not like I'm saying anything that they don't know. It's true. I mean, they're all 5-star guys, that kind of thing. So they're going to do their own thing, and that's fine. The biggest tap on the back I got last year wasn't that IMG showed up, and they didn't show up. But when we played them, we did a dual live stream where me and myself.
Yeah, and Ryan Bass. Oh, Ryan Sudol. Sorry.
His job is what I do with Venice High School. And he came on board. We kind of called our own offenses back and forth, and it was fun. And he said, "Look, you guys are our rivals." And I was like, "Really?" It was cool to hear that, but validates the area. 941 validation. IMG is the number one teams in the country.
Right.
They're in the 941, but we have other programs. Last year, I predicted 5 teams would make it to the state semifinals, and they did.
Yeah.
2 I said 2 to the state finals, 1 made it to the state finals, and 1 won it. So you look at it and say there's a lot of legitimacy to this situation. And plus, hot topics will be brought up here on the podcast, Rich, will be brought up again on Friday about the new playoff system that's in place.
Yes.
About all the different things that are going on with different programs and whatnot. So there's a lot of things to be said in regards to this. So there's a lot of information going to be passed around, opinions on all of that stuff. There's everybody's first question. What do you think about the new playoff system? I know some people might say, I'm never going to see it, but there's a few that can say we could land there.
Maybe it's us. Maybe we'll be in the top 8.
And to think on the other side that maybe in their classification, 1 or 2 of the perennial giants could be swept out of the way. And now you get your opportunity to win a state championship or a bigger opportunity. Coach Mensing talked to him not long ago about his switch to SSAA or I said SSAA. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yes.
He said, heck, our first game, if I would have made the playoffs last year, would have been a game against Miami Northwestern.
Yeah.
I have no chance. They would be potentially eliminated from that process. So a lot to talk about, a lot to see. You got opinions on stuff. And I built a couple of breaks in there for you guys too. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I tried to here and there, a little pause.
Oh, we got to grab some of the delicious food. We got plenty of
food
vendors bringing in.
And day of, I'll make sure that we have the rundown on all the sponsors for this stuff. And some of this is going to bleed over into our podcast for sponsors as well. So we'll bring that up as well. So looking forward to it. Looking forward to all the guys being there like that have been there the last couple of years. They've come to enjoy it. And I know the coaches have as well. So that's a good thing. All
right. John, that does it. Episode 48 in the can.
I'll see you.
I'll see you. That's right. We'll see you on Thursday and or Friday. Certainly for a very long time. You'll be sick of my face. Don't worry.
Well, as long as we're eating food and talking football, I doubt there'll be a lot of. We'll be happy to do that.
All right. So look forward to it again, and you can watch it on YouTube Live. Vibrant Aspect Media is the
will be the host site for it.
Right.
I will. We'll make sure that everybody knows that it's out there. We've put some things out on social media to a couple of people who have a pretty big footprint. So we'll make sure that they do it again for us, and obviously everybody else as well. So, and of course, it'll be podcasted, so it'll be rerun. So if you missed the live stream, go back and watch it again. And I will say this to you. I want everybody to watch it live if they can, or as much as, especially when it's their team or whatever, but it's good if you missed it because you can go back and you can pretty much go through and find your team and find out what's going on there too. So that does kind of help. I've gone back over the years a number of times and looked at certain things and seen some things just to see where people stood back in, the end of July,
August,
mid-late October, and looking back and see where they were and what was talked about. So it's kind of fun to go back and redo some of that stuff.
And Port Charlotte kicks it off at 8:30.
He likes that first spot.
He does. He likes to lead off. He sits there with the donut on, waving the bat. He's
Coach Ingman,
first.
and then we go right into probably the next two guys. Might be the two funniest guys in the group when you got Mark Christiani and Jason Benson calling him up. So
and it's kind of funny because Coach Christiani was not there last year because he used some excuse like he had a kid.
Yeah, he goes. I said, I make this thing happen. You're the first year head coach, and this is what you do to me. And
right.
That's how I approached this. I said, no, you are coming this year. But we know Mark obviously very well. Mark is coach of the Indians, Venice Indians, and obviously a Venice High School graduate and a friend. We have a lot of friends though now. It's funny that we say that. I look at most of these coaches now, and I think of the guys that are new. I think all the rest of them I feel are friends of ours. You know what I mean? Sasha Heyer down there in Welland Park. Down there. So we got them on there. So really fun to talk to everybody. Obviously, John Peacock as well is on that stuff.
You better mention Moneyline. You better definitely.
Moneyline will be there for sure.
Yeah.
And but again, a lot of new names, and it'll be fun to kind of catch up with them and see how everybody's doing. Oh, and then of course, last but not least, as always, Sarasota Christian with Coach Ben. He's a character as well too, so he's worth the wait.
Yes,
he's worth the wait.
We're looking forward to it. So we'll see you on Friday, and then of course we'll wrap things up next week with another edition, episode number 49 of the 941 Sports Zone. We'll have a lot to talk about as far as that goes. Training camps, more camps open. Like I said, depending on when we do the podcast, they could all be open by then. And then when do the actual joint practices start? And I tell you what, college football is right around the corner. I think as we record this, I think it's 40 or so days to week 0.
Rich, it's going to be, I think high school football is going to get a lot of our attention right away because they're going to be the hot commodity, because once the last week of August rolls around, here come those 2 freight trains right down the road. And that doesn't mean we're going to put a lot of attention this year, more so than we did before, regarding high school football, as far as wrapping up games and doing some things with games of the week and that kind of thing. So we're working on that as well. And they're still going to get their kudos, but my goodness, when it starts Saturdays and Sundays, it gets eaten up, and it's like the biggest Pac-Man you ever saw. It just takes all the air and time out of everything. But you know what? It's like that. It's like that roller coaster ride you take. It's fun. It is peaks and valleys, but it's a lot of fun. It's a great sport to follow. But we'll make sure we try to make sure that everybody gets an equal amount of time.
All right. So for Links Golf Rules Missoni.
If you ever get a chance to go play Links Golf, it is phenomenal. It's phenomenal. You might shoot 130, but it's still a lot of fun.
The way I look at it, the more shots, the more I'm getting for my money. There you go.
You believe it.
Yep. Well, I'm Spitz, and I am going to play while I'm down there, weather permitting. And that's all I got to say. I haven't swung a club in a year, so
I can't say
I'm gonna have to warm up. Yeah, I know you, Mr. Play 2-3 play tournaments, for crying out loud.
I did, anyway. and I'm a little banged up, so a little injury with my shoulder. So my age is catching up to me, Rich.
Hey, let's not start talking about that. All right, till next week. So long, everybody.
See you guys.